Welcome back to another episode here on Drive with Jesh. Today we're here at Harris Hill Raceway with tech entrepreneur and investor Andy Abrams and his Murciélago. We're gonna get a bit of a history on his background, his entrepreneurial journey, and then we're gonna hit some laps on the track. Andy, thanks for joining us here today.
Yeah, Josh.
Appreciate it. What can you tell us about the Murci here?
So this is one of 316 US model, considered a pre-LP Murciélago that came to the US. It's a 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V12 engine, designed by Luke Donkerwolk, if I pronounce that correctly. And it's the last of the Bizzarini V12 engines that were produced before the Aventador came out. This model, the pre-LP, was produced 2001 to 2006, and manuals only were available for the 2001 through 2003 production year. This one was produced in June of 2002. In February of 2002, when Car and Driver put the article about the Murciélago, it was this exact spec Giallo Orion triple yellow with the rotary dial wheels, and the main thing being a factory gated manual V12 Ferrari. The e-gears didn't come out until 2003, and that's also when a Roadster became available. I got this car in the summer of this year, 2025. It is one of my poster cars that I had on my wall when I was in college. I sold my software business 3 years ago and then went on a little buying spree of my poster cars.
Yeah, you got them all, right?
I've got a 1996 Ferrari F355 gated Spider manual. I've got a 1997 Porsche 911 993 air-cooled Targa manual. So I've got 3 of my manual poster cars. The only one missing would be an NSX, I think, at this point, from the 90s, 2000s era.
You should definitely add one of those to the garage too.
Yeah. The Bizzarini V12 evolved from a tractor engine. So in all essence, this is a really fast tractor. It drives like a tractor. It's very loud. This is not stock. Through the years, the previous owner or owners at some point put on a Reed Performance straight piped exhaust with the primary and the secondary cats deleted. So it gets pretty loud, which is fun.
Yeah. We're gonna have to sample that.
Yeah, early yeared Murciélagos had stainless steel brakes and pads, so the pre-LP cars didn't come with ceramic brakes, so only 4-piston brakes in the front, which make it extremely hard to stop it if you're at speed. So it'll be interesting out on the track. Another signature trait of the Murciélago is the single wiper arm. And also, this car, with the exception of the doors, is carbon fiber.
Do you know the rough weight on this?
I believe it's about 3,800 pounds.
Okay. Of
the, say, 8-year production run, 9 years if you count 2001 being when it was introduced, they produced roughly 3,935 cars in total. And as earlier I mentioned, of the pre-LP manual coupes, this is one of 316 that made it to the US that, according to Ed Bolian, are still in existence today. One of the cool features on the Murciélago is the bat wings. So in Batman Begins, when Christian Bale is driving around his Roadster, he's got the bat wings up.
Yeah.
And they automatically extend when the engine needs cooling. Though we can press the button and put them up when the car's running, but the minute you turn it off, they shut off.
Yeah, definitely want to chat more later about your experience with this overall as an Italian car. I'm sure there's been some ups and downs. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly enough, these were all handmade, and depending on what day of the week it was, Monday versus a Friday.
Yeah.
Who built it?
Right.
How they built it? How well they built it? So each car is unique in and of itself, because even though they were relatively mass produced, they were all done by hand. So every car is different from one another. If you can get parts for it, they come out of Italy and take forever. If it's something breaks down on it, it's going to sit for a while you're waiting for parts to come from overseas, and with tariffs and everything, that's no fun. But two, then, every car is uniquely different when it gets serviced. I mean, so obviously the engines are the same, but there isn't like a real manual to follow, because at roughly 24 years old, there's been a few owners on it. They've been modified, so you know, it's tough finding auto places that know them well enough, and are familiar enough with the nuances of them. It's definitely needed a few parts replaced. It had sat for 2 years before I got it, so any Italian car that you don't run is a bad thing, because stuff gets to dry out and get cold and brittle. Since I've had it, I've replaced the engine coils, the spark plugs, had to replace the power steering pump and pulleys and belt, replaced all the fluids in it. Fun to love, but hate to own kind of a relationship. It's one of the last classic naturally aspirated V12 scissor door Lamborghini factory gated manuals. Like, that's a sentence in and of itself.
Yeah, last of the analog.
Last of, you know, it's got, you know, traction control, but really that's about it as far as modern convenience. This is all-wheel drive, so there's a front and a rear diff. And in the last couple of years, similar with like the Ferrari 360 and the F430, they have perfected converting e-gears into manuals, manually gated. So about every 15,000 miles, when you do an engine service, it has to be an engine out. So now with conversions, you're seeing a lot of e-gears when they do the engine and the transmission out. Well, you might as well just convert it to a manual at that point. But in general, a low mileage example, which this is not, this is a driver's car. It's got about 72,000 miles on it.
Okay.
So a low mileage LP640, which are the later years manual, those are going above $1 million. I've seen some at 1.2, 1.5.
I was going to ask, what's the market like for these?
So like, you know, back in this time frame, because e-gear came out, everybody wanted an e-gear, right? That was the cool thing to have. Now everybody wants manuals. So manuals in good condition tend to sell better with lower mileage. But even still, I mean, this is an equivalent price of a modern Huracan Technica. Okay. Without all the technology, but, you know, still a fabulous car.
Yeah.
Even more fun out on a track than on regular roads, just because of its rigidity.
Right. You mentioned modifications on it. What else? So the exhaust, and then also on the top here by the engine, right? Was that something also aftermarket that?
So yeah, in the LP640 years, the deck lid came with glass engine vents.
Yep.
But in the early years, this was just black. You know, I'm not sure if it was carbon fiber or just what have you.
So you couldn't see through it.
So you couldn't see through it. Yeah. So the previous owners did a good job of putting in this polycarbonate clear cover on it, versus paying $15,000 for a glass engine lid.
Right.
So the only modifications really are the Reed Performance exhaust.
Okay.
Somebody previously put in the wrapper baller sound system in it, which when on vibrates the whole car. So I disconnected all of that because I don't want all the screws coming undone on me. But other than that, it's stock. A couple of years ago, the two owners previous to me, I guess a Hyundai hit it in the front bumper here. And hit the fender. So this has had work on it with the carbon fiber. The bumper was either fixed or replaced, but there was no structural damage to it. So
They did a good job.
yeah, they did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
You can't tell. Ven Chenoy at DNA Auto House, the client that had it before him had Ven paint correct the whole car and PPF the whole car. So from front to back, original paint, obviously with the exception of wherever the repairs were done. Interesting story. So next door to Ven is Alex Triggs, who owns ECC Tuned. I had my 2015 911 GTS in there getting tuned. And while I was sitting there, I'm like, I called Ven, I'm like, hey, I'm next door. He had a Ferrari F430. I'm like, hey, can I come look at it while I'm waiting? And then he brought this up and I said, I want right of first refusal. Because one, you don't see many Murciélagos.
No, you don't.
You don't have the option to buy one if you do at what I would consider a horrendously reasonable price. So as soon as it was available, I stupidly bought it. Again, poster car, right? You only live once.
Exactly.
So those that can do, I suppose.
You mentioned the exhaust on that. Can we start her up?
Yeah, we're gonna have
Hear
to button it up or it's gonna beep and whine about everything.
And now we hit the track. Next time on Drive with Jesh.
We are here at Andy Abrams' garage. It's got quite the collection. And last but not least, Andy, what do you want to be remembered for in life?